Hey, what's up? Going to look through this Broil King vertical smoker. I got this a few years ago. I just never got around to doing any kind of a review, and I did notice that there were very few on the interwebs, so I thought I might throw my 2 cents in there. This model is the Broil King vertical propane. Now I'm going to run it through with some temperature probes inside, just to get an idea of what I can turn this down to for when I want to do some slow barbecue. It's currently 8 degrees Celsius, or about 46, 47 degrees F for my American friends. The propane has been notorious for not being able to cool it or run it low enough. So I'm going to see what I can get here on this cool day. I'm going to just run it up, then I'm going to try and put some pellets into it, and then I'm going to add the water and see how much difference it makes. Now I know that it will be a little subjective without a big piece of meat in there, but nonetheless, this is what it is. This is my lowest setting. I'm going to close it up and see what happens here. But I will put this back in first. For anybody that doesn't know, this is a pretty standard vertical. It's fairly well built, double walls. The rack attachments are a little flimsy, but they work. The grates are sufficient. They've lasted. This one's probably 10 years old. It's held up very well. It's been undercover and looked after, but it's still running strong. No problems at all. I will button this up. I have 2 probes in here. One a little higher, trying to represent maybe something up higher. And with the propane, it does come up to temperature pretty quick. I think this is like a 15,000 BTUs. So it does put out, but this is on the lowest setting. I don't have any documentation to calculate where that is or how many BTUs are at the minimum setting. But we can see that the 2 probes are coming up. There is a difference in the tray heights, and I'll see where this settles out. Another thing to note on this propane model, there is adjustable drafts on the top, the exhaust, one on each side, and on the bottom there is another intake. The intake is fixed. It is not adjustable. My thought on this initially was, because it's propane, they want to make sure that you're not snuffing it out so that you get incomplete combustion and CO. So that's my guess on it, but we'll see what we can do. Then once I finish doing this, I'm going to show you how I convert this very quickly and easily to run some charcoal. Not sure if that is easy to see or not, but already here on this lowest temperature, we are up to 250 pushing on the lower grate. So if you're trying to keep it low temperature, it could be a struggle. But I have not put water in yet, so see where this levels out. And this has only been 3-4 minutes. Oh, and by the way, just ignore this built-in temperature gauge. It's just not there. Now she's been about 7-8 minutes. I don't think it's been 10. And you can see that as an oven, well, okay, but as a low smoker, not so great, which is one of the big knocks on the propane versions of most of these vertical smokers. So I am going to make an adjustment and come back. All right, I have now added a good half of my water tray. And I got to be pretty careful putting that in there. I don't like the idea. I put the water in and then put the pan in. I think I would do it the other way around. Maybe get a small funnel or something to pour the water in, because we do have the flame and I don't want to get water all over it and then have to dry it all out. But I'm going to close it all up and see where we get to. Repositioned the second one, or the lower temperature probe, just above the water. Okay, buttoned up, water's in. We're still on the minimum propane setting. Now we'll see where this takes us. 5 minutes in, much better. Temperatures are much lower. However, it has only been 5 minutes. That water has not totally warmed up. I don't know exactly where it'll go yet, but if I was doing this and I had to keep it down, you could always add ice into the water, help keep it a little cooler. But nonetheless, you can tell that the water does work so far. We are about 20 minutes. The water tray as a heat sink has helped immensely. You can see the temperature now is marginally acceptable. I would call 275 as my absolute minimum for reaching what I would want to cook at. I'm surprised at the 5-6 inches in height difference to the top probe, how much cooler it is. However, it is close to where the exhaust ports are. There is one on each side, so I think that explains it, where the heat is going up more towards the sides, exiting. 30 minutes in, temperature's still creeping up, hasn't totally stabilized, but the water as a heat sink has really helped. Half an hour in, after I've added the water as a heat sink on this 50-degree drizzle day here, I'm located close to the 49th parallel on the west coast. Typical mid-April weather. She's still creeping up. Actually, just went down a tiny bit. So let's hope that it would stabilize about the 280 to 285. However, adding a big piece of meat in there would also add as another huge heat sink. So I would have to think I'd be able to hold it at 275 or lower. Just for giggles, going to try a little bit of fuel in here to see if we can get a little smoke out of this thing. A little combination of some pellets, some fine wood chunks, or dust almost, and a few chunks in the back. I doubt we'll get much off the chunks, but let's see where this will take us. Now this is the lowest setting. I can have this wood tray on here, otherwise it would block those vents, and I believe that that's why the lowest adjustable settings on. So let's see what we get. 6-7 minutes in, getting the odd little whiff of smoke coming out. I'm curious to see which of the fuels is giving me the smoke. As I suspected, the initial smoking is from the fine wood chips. So I'll continue this and see where this will take us. So 10 minutes of fuel added on. We are smoking. Temperature has not come back up yet. So 30 minutes in, I'm back up to where I was and a little higher on my lower grate temperature. Probably a combination both of the water pan not absorbing as much heat energy, and maybe even additionally some from the wood heat source. We've been smoking steadily since about the 6-minute mark, and I'm going to take a look and see what's going on with that wood source. This is what we got. So the pellets are smoking. They'll work. The small chip powder stuff obviously burnt first, but I'm quite happy to see that the small pieces of hickory are also smoldering away. I will call that a reasonable success, although the overall temperatures were a little higher than I'd like. This is what the standard configuration looks like. You can easily see the burner what I'm going to do now is see if I can't convert this quickly and easily over to use charcoal. Now I have some plate that I use in my offset smoker as baffles to direct the smoke to where I want it. And I was hoping I could use it here, but it's just a little bit wide. But ultimately, I would cover up that entire opening with a nice plate, give me a nice base to work on, and prevent any debris from falling down, either plugging or damaging that burner, or any of those orifices get plugged up. But today I'm going to just take the smoke tray, set it down over top. The smoke tray fits just nicely, doesn't block my inlets, so I should be able to control this quite nicely. I'm going to set my old basket from my offset, just happens to fit over top of the wood tray, which is over top of the propane burner. And also my goal is to see if I can get a better control on the temperature. As I said before, these lower inlet vents are fixed wide open, and again, I believe that's because of the propane and they want to have complete combustion. But on any type of charcoal wood based, you would have controllable vents at the intake as well as the exhaust. Here we don't, but I'm going to show you something I can do here. By removing this one Phillips screw bolt, I can pop this off. And you'll be able to see there is a couple pins on there that line into these holes. I'm going to try and move it over just slightly so that they sit inside here. That'll allow me a little bit of movement. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but I can go from quite a large opening to being able to adjust it somewhat. Not ideal, but at least it'll give me some control. All cooled down. I made a little pile. I don't know if this will throw the test off or make it worse. Just made a small pile of charcoal, a couple little pieces of hickory in there. See if I can't light my tissue paper. Got a little napkin coated in petroleum jelly. See if that'll light for me. She is burning. I'll give it a few minutes and then I will close the door and see if I can adjust those vents down to keep it going. Okay, this vent, I would say it's probably about half. The one on the other side is probably about only a quarter open. So we'll see what this will do. And then if I need to, if the temperature gets too hot, I'll see if I can't close this off and keep the temperatures where I would like them. All right, everything else is still the same. Still have the water pan in, temperature probes still on the same two grates, but now I'm burning charcoal, some lump charcoal, and then obviously you could add in whatever flavored smoking wood you'd like. Within 5 minutes, temperatures are coming up nicely. I have a softer smoke, but I have some nice smoke. The bottom I've turned down to, so probably about 75-80% closed, but the top is still open. I'll see what that does, trying to control it just from the bottom. I am just over 20 minutes in. Temperatures are coming up, just as hot as they were before. Less difference between the top trays as I've got these vents pulled back a bit. The top, I would say, is probably about 50% closed, and the bottom is probably about maybe 70-80% closed on both sides. Okay, we have a little success. It went up to 280 on the lower rack. Now it's leveled out down to 275 now that I've pinched it back. So what I've done, I'm about probably 75% closed on the top, and probably about 80, maybe even 90% closed here on the bottom vent. The one on the other side is probably 95% closed. But that seems to be stabilizing this temperature where I might like to see it. Hour into my test, temperature's starting to fall off. Opened the grates back up a bit, but it's still dropping. I just took a quick look, and looks like my small amount of fuel that I put in there is kind of dwindling down. Overall, I'd say it was a success. I can kind of plan on cooking it around 300-ish on the propane, maybe a little less with a nice big slab of meat in there. I think maybe tomorrow we'll have to try another test. All right, we're in the box, going. Gonna button things up, get it up to temperature, then I go throw some meat on. It's currently, just for ambient conditions, about 3-4 degrees Celsius with 38, pushing 40, maybe Fahrenheit, I forget. Anyway, we'll get ready and we'll go. Still got some flame. Got a little 5-pound brisket point in there, but all I could find locally here. I don't get a great selection, but I wanted. I'm about 35 minutes in. I have no problems holding the temperature between 235, 240. I went up to 250, 255-ish, I think, and then I started adjusting the dampers, and she's looking good. 2 hours in, temperatures between 235 up to 250 a bit, and so far it's looking all right. Do a little spritz. Okay, brisket coming off to wrap at last. Just over 7 hours wrapped and up to 205. It was quite easy to open the vent a bit, bring the temperatures up to 260 to 280 to finish it off while it was wrapped. So I'd have to say that that's a fair good success, being able to run this as a charcoal unit and as a propane unit. Propane temps may be a little higher, but still totally usable. Anyway, that looks really good. Thanks.